Welcome back to episode 178 of the Working Fans Podcast. And today, we may be a week late, but this is our Happy New Year's edition. And to welcome in the new year, I'm talking to the man called Dave, who is busy sharing this link right now, and AJ Strangebrew. And the best way to welcome the year is to say goodbye to last year. But before we do that, Vince McMahon has refused to give us a week off of something to talk about. And before we get into it, guys, what are your quick opinions of this Vince situation? And then we'll play our intro video.
I guess I have questions I'll pose to you guys. I understood that he had talked about, wanting to lead the board. And at first, the board was fine with some of this, right? They told him, something they didn't think him being back of power was a good idea necessarily. But now he just appointed himself as head of the board of directors because he's got the majority share. You can do that.
Yeah, evidently you can just do a coup like that. Not only has he come back, but
Right.
George Barry, all of his right-hand people are back. 3 board members were let go today.
Right.
And apparently Wall Street's loving it because they're up 21% in their stock price today.
So here's the question. So as far as we know, he's not coming back to creative. He's not coming back to head the day-to-day operations like on the wrestling side. But there's nothing stopping him from doing that, is there?
No, there's nothing.
And he's bringing back George Barrios and Michelle Wilson, who were 2 of his biggest people prior to Nick Khan coming in.
Right.
The way I'm understanding it is he's inserting himself in so he can sell WWE. I think he thinks he's going to command the biggest price.
But here's the thing. They said so that he can make changes to make them better to sell.
Right.
What changes is he going to make to the WWE product to make it more appetizing to sell?
And also the TV rights deals are coming up too. I will say this. Vince obviously does have relationships with a lot of these people that are higher up.
In trouble.
that's another. He's had those relationships too, but that's where you think a guy like Vince could be an asset. Of course, I'd like to think, you could be an asset, a silent asset, like over there, and we don't really need you for this, right? Like you could still be a presence, and you still have the 81%. So to me, this feels like a control issue. This feels like I want to feel more in control.
Oh, it's ego, yeah.
Right. And also, what's from stopping this guy from doing whatever he wants then?
And let's not forget about the fact, we're just ignoring the fact, this is a man who took funds. They found him to have taken funds from the company to pay off women that he had sexual relationships as hush money. He used money from the company.
Millions of dollars.
Let's throw this out there real quick too. I know this isn't the Combat Cast, but we're talking about rich, powerful people doing what they want. Dana White gets caught on footage slapping his wife this week. Out, he apologizes. They apologize. They make no excuses. I get all that. Before he's about to have the premiere of his new Power Slap League. You can't make this up. It doesn't get any worse than that on TBS. We don't hear anything about the Power Slap League. It's like, okay, this is probably not going to happen. It goes quiet. And now, oh no, it's just been delayed a week. So he's going to do what he wants. Vince is clearly doing what he wants on another level. And what do? You just...
Well, not only that, but how much of a hypocrite is Dana White? How many times has Dana White stood in front of people and said, oh, no, we don't do that. You are done with fighting.
That power slap, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's going to get the $1 million prize.
Yeah, way to set a tone for the league. I didn't know it was a mixed. I didn't know it was a mixed battle of the sexes.
And he did. I will say this. He did. He said, "I make no excuses." He said, "I'm the first guy who called people out on that." So I'll say that. But
I give him credit, but he's also the first people who have punished people for it.
Yeah.
What's your punishment?
Who holds him accountable? And just bring it back to Vince. Who holds Vince accountable?
apparently no one, because what do you take, a couple months off and now he's back as the head of the freaking board?
Well, I'll tell you honestly, I'm gonna hold him accountable because I planned on watching SmackDown tonight, but with this news, fuck that. Like, because I think there's a meeting at 3:30 this afternoon. I read for WWE employees. If it is anything about Vince coming back, I'm good with WWE for a while because like it's kind of ridiculous. Like, how does he come back? And just like the Dana White thing,
it puts us
it's
in a
just
tough
men
spot.
in power getting away with things.
For those of us that cover wrestling like we do, it puts us in a tough spot because ethically, I don't want to watch the product if he's back in charge. But on another standpoint, we have to cover him actually being there like we're doing right now.
I'm a goddamn broadcast journalist.
I gotta admit, my ethics are a little bit with, I kind of still want to see Power Slap, but that is a joke. That went over like a lead balloon. Let's play our intro, and then we'll get on with the rest of the show. Thank you, Randy. I had a feeling. I didn't even have a feeling, but I should have known that my audio was off.
Oh, Joe, your audio's off.
I didn't notice, honestly.
Thank you. Well, I have a feeling me and Dave got a little bit more work to do later. But guys, we are back for 2023 in the Working Fans podcast. Before we start off, how were your holidays, guys?
Holidays were good, man. Chaotic, a lot of running around, different houses and stuff. But glad to. I can't say we took a time off. I mean, I know we gave AJ a couple weeks off. Like we punished him. AJ, we don't need you, brother. But we were still busy.
I would have rather been doing stuff. I don't like people. Don't really overly care for holidays. I'd rather be here live and in Technicolor.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like AJ loved hanging out with his wife, but what we love talking about is the 2022 year-end awards. And guys, we have male wrestler of the year, female wrestler of the year, match of the year, tag team of the year, faction of the. Randy asking the hard-hitting questions. AJ, how's the wife? Has she healed from surgery?
Wife's doing great. She's back at work. Hence me being here on the podcast. So things are going well. She's feeling much better. Thank you for the inquiry, Randy. I will send you some Twitter messages and stuff just to keep you updated.
Now the big question that's laying in front of us, guys, what was your event of last year?
Hold on.
Oh,
hold on
shit.
a second. I want to say something here real quick. Hold on a second. Because a lot of people contributed to this because this was going to be about just us, but I didn't know. So I asked a few people. So thank you, Jake. Thank you, Zach St. John. Thank you, Mike Flynn. And thank you, Randy Osga, for all contributing. And Randy, I'm just going to read yours real quick because you're out in the comments. I know Randy, he'll be like, hey, where's my list, motherfucker? So
Randy, also, Dave, don't forget, thank you, Mrs. St. John, for giving us half of those contributors.
Randy had John Moxley as male wrestler of the year, female wrestler of the year, Bianca Belair, match of the year, Rollins and Cody in Hell in a Cell, FDR tag of the year, Bloodline faction of the year, and AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door as the event of the year, which I believe we're about to talk about, event of the year. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, now, what was your guys' event of the year? Because honestly, I'm still having a hard time picking this. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do it live. I'm going to say Clash at the Castle. I really liked the ROH event that we went to. I thought that was a blast.
Yeah. It's
I'm
so funny
you said that. Final Battle, but I think Clash at the Castle, between their set designs, the matches they had, and that was the first real event side of Vince's creative. I thought it was entertaining and refreshing.
Absolutely. And that was mine. Clash of the Castle as well. Mike Flynn, actually, I remember he had Clash of the Castle too. It just felt like a different event. It was great them being in Europe. I hope WWE does this more often. I heard they're going to be doing that this year with Money in the Bank too. They'll be going back to the O2 Arena, which has been like I don't know how many years since they've been in England. But it's just awesome they're doing that, and I hope AEW eventually does this stuff too.
I actually agree, unfortunately, that it's Clash of the Castle. I'm hoping that with Vince McMahon back, we'll put an end to this nonsense and stop enjoying these events and go back to the WWE of the last couple of years where we don't get events like this.
And also on that card, and it might be somebody's match here, but Gunther and Sheamus.
Gunther and Sheamus stole the freaking show.
Series for the summer, yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny talking about Vince, just to bring that back there for a second, and we'll go to our next category. It's so weird, but for me personally, one of the things I keep thinking about, like if Vince comes back, please don't fuck up Gunther. Like, like you are going to call him Gunther. I've adapted. I'm okay with it. He's putting on hell of a match after hell of a match.
Yeah, but with the difference in his physique, I could see Vince being like, "Oh my God, who is this guy?"
We never had him.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a quick question for you guys. Which was the worst January 6th? Vince McMahon coming back or the Clash at the Capitol?
The Clash at the Capitol.
It is starting to appear that January 6th is not going to be a good day going forward, though.
Yeah, so if it's your birthday, we're sorry, but we didn't do it to you. What we did do to you is bring Faction of the Year, and I got to go with Bloodline. It's hard to pick anyone else.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was curious about when did the Challenger blow up? As a kid, I actually looked that up. It's January 28th, by the way. So we are in the month. Yeah, I had a feeling. So
yeah, with depreciation over time, though, it actually rolls back to January 6th.
Right. So just horrible events that happened this month, I guess.
I saw that in school, by
Google
the way.
Quick, when did
Dude, I was home. I took the day off from school. I still remember sitting at home. Like, I'm like, fuck. So, yeah, it's a memory. I think that's why. Like, when people talk about, like, I just remember certain events. Yeah.
They rolled in the TV. You remember how they used to roll the TV into the classroom? They rolled in the TV to the classroom so that we could watch because a teacher was on the ship, Christy McCullough. So they rolled in the TV, and we all literally watched someone die in front of us.
You in Florida?
No, that was actually in Connecticut.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I was wondering. So for me, the topic we got on,
they literally killed somebody in front of us. It was delightful.
Dude, I remember this
somebody died on TV in front of you.
And if anyone stumbles upon this and they don't know me, and they're probably like, this guy looking for attention. True story. Like, I remember as a kid watching that, and I remember 6 years old. I wonder if it blows up. It fucking did. I couldn't believe it. Oh, shit.
Dave, are you telling us that you booked the Challenger explosion?
I did not book it. Nor did I book it.
I remember my dad actually saying to me later. So my dad later that day actually said to me when I got home, he's like, yeah, that's what happens when you let a woman drive.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, let's
I still remember that
joke to and Faction of the Year, fellas.
Action of the Year. Yeah, I gotta agree. To me, this isn't really up for discussion even. I mean, I know some people probably put the Blackpool Combat Club but they ended up kind of not being the complete group by the end of this. But to me, I mean, we're going to talk about Male Wrestler of the Year too. To me, what we're seeing with the Bloodline is really kind of not been heard of since the Four Horsemen day. And what I'm talking about is I'm talking about consistently on top, not just this year, but beyond and every past year. There are exceptions to this rule, which I'll explain later. But right now, they're in the WWE. WWE is the most watched promotion, and the Bloodline, it's the group. I don't think this is really up for debate, personally.
Yeah, I mean, the Blackpool Combat Club was a fun month or two. However, the Bloodline has been absolutely incredible. And I know there are going to be people out there that are going to think that Sherman Helmsley's group there in AEW with Big Bill and all those guys is fantastic. But To me, that's just ridiculous. The bloodline is where it's at.
Why did you call him Sherman Hemsley's group, George Jefferson?
I couldn't remember his name, and he's pretty much just acting like Sherman Hemsley, so I just called it.
Oh, you're talking about Stokely Hathaway?
Yes.
I did not draw that connection.
I remember that it was an S and H, so I just went with the greatest human being of the 1980s and 70s, Sherman Hemsley.
Fair enough. All right, so that's our faction of the year.
Yeah, the next category, tag team of the year. And this one, it's tough because I had to include a Jake rule in this. Yeah. Obviously, I mean, I put the Briscoes on top because for what they did without TV time behind them was incredible. And they made appearances in GCW. They kept their name alive. Jake Rule, I'm going to bring up the SAT because we interviewed them at the beginning of the year when they were just starting to make their comeback. The amount of big matches they had this year and where they're going in this current year that we're in is just amazing. And we got to know AEW trying to rip off the SAT's gimmick. First, they were the Spanish Announce team. Now they're the Spanish Announce Project. It's kind of dirty how Tony Khan's doing them. Guys, who are your teams of the year?
So,
first of all, both of those teams are fantastic. However, how do you ignore FTR holding every championship around the globe other than the AEW Tag Team Championships? The absolutely phenomenal year for them. And then also the Acclaim, quite frankly, to go from basically being mid-card tag team to where they're at, where they're just blowing up arenas right now, scissoring everyone. Absolutely incredible.
So I said earlier, there's exceptions to rule. Bloodline are the top faction going right now. WWE obviously is the most watched promotion. WWE made a lot of strides this year. We'll see if that all gets taken away. But the exceptions are when you're a team like FTR, who had already won every title in WWE, then goes on and wins the AEW World Championships. But then this year says, you know what? I'm going to still be on a national stage in AEW, but we're going to win the Ring of Honor tag titles. And that's part of that promotion. We're going to go out with we got with Mexico and win the AAA tag team championships. We're going to win the IWGP tag team championship, and we're going to put emphasis on tag team wrestling. And to me, when you look at that combined with just the level of matches they had with Joe's pick, the Briscoes there, Jesus Christ. I mean, how do you not pick FTR as tag team of the year? Oh, funny little side note, too. Dax Harwood's got a new podcast out. I'll share this little story for anyone who hasn't listened to the podcast or whatever.
I've listened to both of his episodes. They're great.
They're great. He talks very open and honestly. He talks about that Briscoe match, and they talk about just throwing legit right hands and just legit punching each other in the middle of the dog collar match. And he says at one point, he says, Jay's throwing some real live rounds, and he gets me. And I'm like, oh, you motherfucker. And he says, I start throwing back, and he catches me in the eye. And he says, he got me good. He busted my eye. He says, I never felt like a bitch more in my life. Matt Kuhn, former guest of the show, I got to give him props, has a great line in there. I'm paraphrasing, but he basically says, not wanting to throw real legit punches with Jay Briscoe does not make you a bitch. so can't blame him.
No, yeah, if you get a chance, listen to that podcast. It's really good.
This is New Japan centric, but Bishamon won honorable mention for me winning the tag titles twice and winning the World Tag League. Bishamon is Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi. And I was amazed they could make me care about a Yoshihashi match. But what do you guys make of FTR dropping all their tag titles now?
I think it's the only way that they're going to end up putting the AEW tag titles on them was by them giving up those other belts.
I thought for one point, I actually, until he started having his podcast out, I actually wondered if they were going back to WWE at one point. You know, dropping all the belts. Triple H is in charge. Remember, this is before Vince news we got, right? But now listening to his podcast, it's not like he's even really ultimately negative about that stuff. He's just very honest, and you realize, oh, he's really happy, I think, where he is. And I think this is a greater story of them being down in the dumps. How are they going to come back? Everybody's going to shine. And when they do come back, they're going to have the AEW tag titles.
Yeah, he talks about how they work literally 3 days a week at the most, and he spends more than half the week with his family. So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, next category we're moving on to match of the year. I had to give it Briscoes versus FTR dog collar match. Double dog collar match.
I went in a different direction. I actually gave it to Sheamus and Gunther. That match actually tore it up for me. I love that physical, just beat the crap out of you style. And I love the dog collar match. I did. But there's just something about those two. Maybe it's because of how pale both of them are that you could see every little shot just welt up as it happens. But it was absolutely incredible.
You know, it's a tough one. I'm trying to think now. I personally,
that's a good one too.
I really like
Josh Alexander versus Speedball Mike Bailey on Impact.
I really like the first match with the Briscoes and FTR because we got to see that. I got to see that live. The second one, obviously, we got to see live as well. That was the 2 out of 3 fall match, I believe, for Ring of Honor, right? Is that the one we went to, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. That was the second one.
Yeah. So that was awesome too. The dog collar match, unfortunately, I had spoiled for me, so that always takes a little bit out from me. But obviously, it was just such a great match. But what am I talking about? FTR and the Briscoes, right? There were some great ones. I think Gunther Sheamus was great. I think underrated TV match. I don't know if anyone saw it recently. Gunther and Ricochet from a few weeks ago. Ricochet, a guy that they're starting to build up again in WWE, not to a level where I feel like he's going to win a world title, but it seems like he actually means something. Again,
yeah, Ricochet getting the receipt with that, giving a receipt to Gunther there with that chair shot. Jesus.
I don't know if anyone had seen that. Yeah. I looked down, I'm like, well, I don't think that was supposed to hit. And then I'm watching, I'm like, seeing Gunther sell. I'm like, no, that definitely was supposed to hit.
Yeah, seeing him sell and seeing all the people around him all of a sudden, that's not a good sign.
Yeah. So for me, my pick will be the original FTR Briscoes match. That's who I got.
That is a solid one. Now, AJ, did you give us your match of the year?
He did. Gunther Sheamus.
Oh, okay. Sorry, doing a little side work here on the phone. We got multiple things to promote today.
That's all right. I'm married. I'm used to people not listening to me.
Now, female wrestler of 2022.
Okay.
I had to go with Bianca Belair.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. She deserves it. Here's the thing. People I'm telling you what, the people who don't like WWE are gonna be mad at us this week, baby. But I gotta be honest with you, like WWE, and we're gonna get to this in a moment too, has done really a better job when it comes to building up their main champions. And what I mean by that is Roman and Belair. Now, the SmackDown women's title has been a little, all over the place. And I wouldn't think it's all right. But Bianca Belair in particular and Roman have been built up wonderfully. In the case of Roman the last few years and Bianca just this past year, she's been killing it. To me, she's been the standard. Great action. Jamie Hayter, I couldn't give it to her yet, but I'm so glad this has been like her year. And if she keeps on the path that she's doing right now, ask me this question again next year. Because
Jamie Hayter's been tearing it up.
Yeah.
Bianca Belair is my number 2 behind Kairi Sane. What Kairi Sane has done in Japan all year long, she literally went back over there, rebuilt herself, and then obviously it came to a culmination this year at the beginning of the year within what's going on over there right now. But just absolutely phenomenal year for her, just tearing it up match after match, and absolutely incredible. Also, I want to throw this out there. She's not one of my favorites because I don't think she's where she needs to be yet. But Jade Cargill, I'm pretty sure, has been the champion all year.
She is, but
I just don't think she's on the level of those other stars yet. I think she's being protected like Goldberg.
She's being protected. Her in-ring work is not where it should be in terms of how I word this. I mean, you don't have to be the greatest in-ring worker of all time, and the way she carries herself is good. But I think the matches they put her in are a little too long. Honestly, if you're going to build her up like this, just have her go through
It exposes her. You need to do more of what Goldberg did, 1 minute, 1.5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to point out that she has held that belt all year long.
She has. You can make a good argument for her. I wouldn't, I can see why. But.
Yes, you brought up Kyrie doing good in Japan. She won that IWGP Women's Championship. Backley here, as we showed earlier, is a fan of both Bianca and Julia from Stardom. But guys, we are to the main event. Mm-hmm. We are talking male wrestler of 2022. I got to go with MJF. I hadn't decided until now. It was kind of a coin flip between him and Roman, but I think him winning the title was a big moment.
I think it's a little sexist, Vince McMahon, to say that this is the main event just because it's the male, but that's fine. We can. How do you not go with Roman? Mm-hmm. That's how.
I bet if you're like on other sites and work rate is a thing, I bet you could argue Jon Moxley for the year he's had wrestling.
But even him, he's gone up and down with the championship.
I wanted to put Sammy for the amount that he's gotten over in the year without having to do much in ring.
But and if you think about Roman, he's also not on TV all the time. Oh. They hold him back. He has less of a schedule. But damn,
Roman is this era's Hulk Hogan. Like that's just it. And what I mean by that is like he's a dominant reign of multiple years. And I never thought we would see anything like this again, let alone in WWE. So this is really unprecedented, like the stuff that Roman's doing, the stuff the Bloodline's doing. I think Roman drops it at WrestleMania this year. I just want to bring that up. But honestly, the way it's going, it would not shock me if a year from now we're talking about, who's going to beat Roman Reigns? Because
we talk about Hogan.
Things, I think.
We talk about Hogan. It's looking like he's going to go past Hogan and head right to Bruno.
If that's the case, we'll be retired talking about Roman can real go.
Yeah, it's interesting how they're bringing back those old school reigns. Now, this is our best of 2022 episode. Next week, we will put together a 2023 predictions episode for you, as well as maybe preview talking about 86. Has there been anything else in wrestling this week that's gotten you guys' attention that you want to talk about?
Well, this isn't this week, but I did want to point out real quick that we talk about best shows, stuff like that. I would like to point out, if you have a chance, go back to Working Fans, episode 26 of this year, and you'll see the best show of 2022.
Episode 26, huh?
Episode 26. It was a phenomenal episode. We talked a lot about wrestling. There were some jokes involved in it. I think you'll genuinely enjoy it.
You 126.
Yeah,
126. Sorry.
I was like, was it Combat Cast 26? AJ,
sorry. 126.
2023.
Yeah, sorry. 126. Sorry.
But yeah. Let's talk about it real quick since we're all here. 2022 was a year of like huge growth for us. We were able to finally get out to a live wrestling event, no matter how sketchy Pistol Pete's made it. Chad Minnis was a great host there, and he's actually been doing some XPW promotion in New Jersey, getting them bigger. And I mean, we had a great year. We grew our YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. We did, I feel like, more recording hours than ever. We did a little bit of the Combat Cast, a little bit of the Brew Cast, but we really kind of returned to what made us.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's just finding stuff that we love to do, and I think the people will catch on. Actually, I'll pose it too, and this is going to be probably more work on producer Joe's lap than I'm just throwing it out here, but I'm going to throw it out to AJ because I'll get it. I know I've mentioned to Joe. AJ, what do you think about once a month if we can find a way to do like a game show type thing where maybe we could do trivia against each other, or we could do, or maybe even every month it could be a trivia episode, one trivia episode where we just have a different category?
I think that would be great. I mean, I love a good game show. Who doesn't? Yeah.
I know you'll might an AWA trivia.
I mean, something that might be interesting is that maybe some of these fans that write in, we bring one of them in and they try to stump us in trivia. They try to beat us in trivia.
Sure. You know, they
And
can
if they
pick the
beat us,
categories.
maybe we can come up with like a video or something, a present for them. You know, a little prize.
We'll grace them with the gift of our
Yeah, we'll give a signed autograph.
our ego.
Working Fans Podcast.
Actually,
little-
I haven't even brought it up yet. I should have started the episode off with this, but we have a web store now. Go to workingfanspodcast.etsy.com. We've got a t-shirt up, we have a sweatshirt up, and we have a coffee mug up. That's part of our growth in 2023. We've still got more interviews for you. We've got Working Fans Presents episodes. We're going to bring you more interviews that aren't necessarily wrestling.
Also, we've reached a couple goals this year. We are over 800 subscribers and over 350,000 views. That's not too shabby for three local kids who just love wrestling and want to talk about it.
Yeah, if you want to talk live numbers, we are up to 839 subscribers on YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed, why aren't you clicking the button? Why aren't you supporting the movement?
Get us over that 000.
Yes, we want to be able to bring you more great content. We've collaborated with channels like Daniel Backley's Cage My IQ. Dave and I are featured on the New Heights Wrestling channel. We've had Wei Ting and Andrew Thompson from both the Post channels and Andrew Thompson interviews on. And it was just a great year. We have so much more to bring you.
We've already gotten to a level where Dave and Joe have started wearing ties. You know, the show's gotten good when people are dressing up for it.
Smells like money.
Real deal business. And to that district manager at Stop and Shop that said, you got to dress for the job that you want, not for the job you have. I'm still wearing the Stooges tie, bitch. And now we're making a name for ourselves. So if I could say fuck Stop and Shop for the end of 2022, let's move on to bigger and better things in 2023. And I couldn't have a better crew in you guys and Chevy. So
never forget the Cheveroonie.
And never forget him. So guys, we will see you again next week. Uh-oh. We got Daniel Backley chiming in.
Oh, yeah,
looks
Chuck.
like he came from the show,
Chuck.
I don't know if you're talking Chuck Winchester from Regularly Scheduled Hostilities. Him, Yvonne DeBoard, and Josh DeBoard do a great show over there. Shouting out all the shows we can right now.
And guys, make sure you also check out our sister show, the Combat Cast. If you check that out, they're going to deep dive all things slap fighting.
Red beans and rice didn't miss it. This stuff, baby. I love it. Yeah, Combat Cast every Tuesday. I think we got an interview cooking up this Tuesday. We'll see as we get close.
They like to drop it like it's hot.
Yeah. But all right, guys. Hey, 2023. Let's do it.
Hey, in the words of the immortal Rick Ross, use a big motherfucker.
Big motherfucker.